What am I doing? I'm just about to check YouTube. So I'm going to do a video review of that the Nuit de l'Homme, the EDP, the new one I've got. And I think it's going to be my first YouTube exclusive because nobody's done it before, so I'm quite excited. You're off shopping, yeah? Okay, cool. Well, have fun. Don't spend too much money, because we haven't got any. Because I keep spending on fragrances. Oh, by the way, I'm thinking about growing a goatee, just to let you know. I just thought it'd be something quite fun. Like nobody has them anymore. You know, kind of like set a trend or something. So something to do in it. Anyway, have fun. Don't spend much money. Bye.
La Nuit de l'Homme or de Parfum. Stay tuned to FM.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
Word to your mother, my name's Steve and this channel is FRAG30 and I love you for tuning in, so thank you. Today I'm going to be looking at a brand new 2019 release from the house of Yves Saint Laurent, and it is Le Nuit de l'Homme EDP. So what I want to do on this review is give you my full opinion on the EDP version, and I'm going to compare this to the current formulation, that's the 2018 formulation of Le Nuit de l'Homme EDT. So I've been a big fan of Le Nuit de l'Homme for quite a long time. I've tried various clones, etc. and nothing kind of lived up to the original. I've never tried the earlier batches, so I've never tried the sort of 2009, 2012. I've only ever worn the original formulation from 2018. So basically, as far as I know, I've always had a somewhat watered down version. And that reflects in the performance that I get from the original. The original is lovely. It's a lovely cardamom bomb, as it always gets described, and I do love it. I love that cardamom, and it is really intoxicating. I think it's got some versatility, it's really sexy, and it's just one of my favourite fragrances. From an actual scent point of view, it is one of my favourites. It never made my top 10 fragrances for life video that I did fairly recently though, purely because of the performance. It's just not worth having in my top 10 fragrances for life because it just doesn't last on me. I think some people suffer more than others, and it might be the skin chemistry, but for me, I do not get great performance from the original EDT. I say original, the 2018 version. I get about an hour of projection and then a skin scent for another 2 to 3 hours. So I get about 3 to 4 hours maximum longevity out of this. And the vast majority of that is a skin sense. So for that reason, it just doesn't, I can't add it to my 10 for life as much as I love the actual scent. So I purchased this with excitement and anticipation in the hope that it will give me what that does in a scent, but improve on that performance. And I know people have tried that with Le Parfum and the Intense version, all to no avail. So I had high hopes with the EDP version, and spoiler alert, it is better performance, but it's still not great, and I'll get to that. So what do you get with the EDP version? You will get the Le Nuit de l'Homme DNA. Straight away you'll recognize it as Le Nuit de l'Homme, but it is richer and it is thicker and a little bit sweeter. And I think that sweetness probably comes from the addition of the tonka that's in the base, but the opening is just absolutely delightful. It is just so much fuller than the EDP. It really is. It's just really thick and full. And what I like about this is there's no real kind of standout notes from the EDP because it's just presented as a package. It's just really well blended. So there's nothing that kind of really distinctive standout notes. It just comes as one, as a package. And it is, oh man, it is so good in the opening. So good. It's, as I say, it just takes the EDT's DNA and it just adds to it. It amplifies it in the sense that it's fuller and thicker. But what I will say is the EDT is lighter. It's not as full, but because it's kind of lighter, the opening, it does have more of a pop to it. So when you smell it, this is kind of thick and rich and intoxicating, where that is lighter and has got more of a kind of pop to it, and that probably gives the EDT a bit more versatility. When you compare these bad boys side by side, as I say, the EDP is kind of richer and fuller, and you do notice the addition of leather. So leather has been added to the formulation for this, and it is noticeable, but it's not like this really strong leathery accord. So please don't be put off if you're not a big fan of leather. It just adds to that kind of richness and the kind of the fullness of the scent. You can sort of detect, you can pick up on the leather, but as I say, it's not standout. It's not a leather based kind of fragrance, I would say. So don't be put off if you're not a big fan of leather. Where the 2018 EDT, as I say, it has, I've got, if you haven't guessed, I've got one on each arm. It has more pop to it, but certainly after like 20 to 30 minutes, it becomes a lot more powdery, where this keeps that kind of richness, almost to like a booziness, but it's not. There's no kind of boozy to it, but it's that kind of rich and full, where this is a lot lighter, and after about 20 or 30 minutes it becomes quite powdery, where this one doesn't. This one doesn't kind of get that. So for that reason, I think this is more versatile, but this is by far the better scent, in my opinion. It's just kind of what this should have been. So performance then, that is the big question. That's what you all want to know. That's what I wanted to know. Is it better? And the answer is yes. But, and that's a big but.
I like big butts.
It is still only average performance, I'm afraid. I'm sorry to bring you the bad news. The performance is okay, it's average, it's passable, but it's still not brilliant. As I say, this I will get 3 to 4 hours maximum, really, and the majority of that is the skin scent, unfortunately, which makes it kind of not really worthwhile. This is improved. I will get 1 to 2 hours of quite solid projection, and because it is quite a thick, rich scent, you do get a nice sillage when you kind of walk past people or you kind of leave a room. It won't fill a room, it won't kind of choke people out, but again, if you're walking past, they will get a nice sillage from this. So yeah, projection is improved and the longevity is improved as well, but it's still not great, unfortunately, not on my skin anyway. I get about 5 to 6 hours depending on what I'm doing. I've worn this a few days now with varying levels of activity. One day I burnt it off fairly quick because I was kind of in a jungle gym, I guess you'd call it in the US, but it's kind of like a soft play here, with my little boy, so I was quite active. Another day I was kind of less active, kind of in a car, and I noticed it did last longer. So yeah, 5 to 6 hours longevity for me, and it does wear fairly close. I'll get a couple of hours of projection and then it wears fairly close. And I did notice actually towards the end of the life of this, it's right at the end when it was just a skin scent, under sort of 6 hours, it kind of, when I stuck it in my nose, I had like it kind of went a bit smoky. And I think that's probably my skin DNA, if I'm being honest, so I wouldn't let that put you off. And as I say, that was right at the end, and it was a real skin scent. When I basically stuck it right in my nose, it kind of had a sort of smoky kind of finish to it, which surprised me a little bit, but I suspect it's just my DNA. But anyway, don't worry about that because it's a skin scent and it's right at the end of the life. It's fairly linear, I would say. It's the opening for those first 2 hours when it's kind of really rich and at its strongest is when it's best, but it does settle down and it doesn't lose the scent profile doesn't change much, it just loses the strength. And it just becomes a little bit softer and a little bit more powdery, but it's still not as powdery as the EDT in my opinion. So, should you buy the EDP version instead of the EDT, or should you own both? And kind of what's the deal? What should you do? What's the consumer advice that I'm giving you? In my humble opinion, if you want the Nuit de l'Homme DNA, buy the EDP. The EDT, as I said, has got a little bit more, it's lighter, it's got a bit more of a pop to it. So for that reason, it kind of does lend itself to more versatile situations. I think this certainly holds some versatility, but this probably more so. It would sit quite comfortably in an office, on a date, etc. Numerous different scenarios. I don't think this is kind of be out of place because it's kind of fairly light and it does dry down fairly, sort of, it's got some powderiness to the dry down. So it lends itself some nice versatility. This is a versatile scent, but probably not to quite the same extent as the EDT, but it's a richer, fuller, better scent in my opinion, and the performance is a lot better. So for me personally, I wouldn't advise buying this just based on the performance. Your performance might be better depending on your kind of skin chemistry, but for me, I would say this, the EDP makes the EDT redundant in my opinion. I would not advise to buy this. I would say don't bother, get the EDP and you'll get better performance, and it still has some versatility, but in those first 2 hours on a date, man, yeah, she's gonna be all over you like a cheap suit.
Don't ever leave me.
Ever.
Good, because I'd find you.
That's my consumer advice, is don't bother with the EDT, get the EDP and enjoy it, and enjoy the fact that it lasts a lot longer. It's still not beast mode by any means, so manage your expectations, and realistically you might still have to reapply it, but it's not going to be so much of a drama and it will last you longer. Thank you for watching. Do please like, comment and subscribe. It does help me kind of grow my channel and share the love, and I do appreciate it. Thank you for watching. I will see you for another video soon. Much love.